Hello and welcome to the third episode of Fundamentals of Smash. Today I will be talking about mix-ups. Mix-ups, in my opinion, are the most important concept not just of Smash games, not even of just fighting games, but of just about any competitive game, no matter what you're playing. Fighters, shooters, strategy games. Mix-ups is what makes us the opponent cannot guess what you're going to do. And yeah, if they can't guess what you gotta do, they can't punch what you gotta do, they can't stop what you do effectively. And generally, if they just can't read you because you're doing these mix-ups, they can't win, and you'll win. Now I make it sound a lot simpler than it actually is. But so what, in Smash terms, in fighting terms, is a mix-up? A mix-up is when, in a repeat situation, you do a different option. So, for example, I am this distance from Robin. I can run him and dash attack him. I can run him and grab him, which is a mix-up that beats. If he was shielding, it would beat that because I mixed up and did dash attack before. I can run him and do a back air. I can run him and do a reverse back air. I can run him and do a down air. I can run him and do a jump. Cancel that jump. Whoa. Don't do anything to the jump and land the grab. I can side B him from a distance. I can down B him. I can run right behind him, wait for him to do something. I can run at him, run away, and then do something. I can jump, do a jab. I can even run up and up B him. I can run up and spot dodge. Mess it up. Run up shield. These are all mix-ups. These are all different options I can do in the same exact scenario. And as you saw, not only is it pressing different buttons, doing different moves, but see, we're doing different movements. Sometimes I run somewhere, I just run away. Wait for them to do something. Maybe I run behind someone. So it's not just running at someone and saying, am I gonna grab him? Am I gonna dash attack? Am I gonna jump and do back air? It's just doing whatever you can to confuse your opponent and make him unsure what your next move is. And similarly to doing this offensively, there's also mix-ups on defense. So, let's just say I'm the Robin in this scenario. I can shield, because I expect a dash attack, an aerial, side B or something. I can spot dodge, if I expect a grab, if I expect a quick attack. I can roll, if I think my opponent's just going to run at me, attack where I'm currently standing. So I could roll towards my opponent, or I could just roll away from him. If I think he's going to do something like an aerial, like back air or down air. I can even jump and do an aerial. I can jump and air dodge. I can just jump away. I can even try footstooling him. I can jump and up B, jump inside B. I can jab. I can forward smash, down smash. I can even do a pivot forward tilt. I can do my own aerial. These are all scenarios that if I was Robin, or even Robin is approaching me as Falcon, I can do. And these aren't even all the mix-ups. This is just a few examples. And so why is this important? I touched on this very briefly, but basically, in a fighting game, in a competitive game, when you're fighting someone who is skilled at the game, who knows the character's options, if they know what you're going to do, chances are that they'll punish you extremely hard for that. So if my opponent knows I'm going to go in forward smash, and they shield this, Robin, for example, can forward smash me. If my opponent knows every time I run into my grab, they can spot dodge that and forward smash me because when I run and grab, I whiff that, I'll be right behind him. If they know I'm going to jump into an aerial, they can easily just up smash me and potentially kill me at higher percents. They can do up tilts and combo with me. The point is, if you do the same option over and over, unless it's an option that is borderline, if not overpowered, and basically unpunishable, or the risk reward is such in your favor that it's hard to punish properly, then you're gonna lose. And this goes for any game. And this doesn't just apply to being on the ground in this neutral situation. It doesn't apply to being attacking someone. It doesn't apply to being defensive. It applies to every scenario in the game. That's what makes fighting games, in my opinion, so interesting and dynamic. Is there is almost an infinite amount of scenarios and infinite amount of mind games. So even on the ledge, mix up off the ledge. I can get up, and from get up I can do get up jab. I could have done get up grab, get up shield. Then I can also roll off onto the stage. I can jump and air dodge, double jump, jump away inside B, jump away and re-grab, jump down, wall jump, back air, wall jump, back air onto stage, do something, do get up attack, jumping down B, in the air, let's say I'm trying to land because Robin's trying to juggle me, I can land with an air dodge, I can land with a fast fall air dodge, I can land with a fast fall aerial, I can double jump when my opponent's near me and jump away, do something that stays in the air for a little bit and that makes me fall like a falcon kick. I can go for my own air, I can down air, I can side B to get away, I can jump, footstool, I can go towards the ledge, so. And my opponent has to, assuming I'm using all these mix-ups properly, I know all my options, my opponent has to respect everything. If my opponent tries to just punish me for only, say, air dodging, and I'm using like 6 different options, sure, they're covering one option, maybe they'll cover 2 or 3 at the same time, but because my opponent's not mixing up, using mix-ups on me while I'm in the air, I know he's going to do these certain moves, I need to try to punish my certain moves, and as long as I avoid them, chances are not only can I avoid his attacks, but I can punish him for it. So if I know that he's waiting for my air dodge, and he's just going to up air me as soon as I air dodge, I can just down air him. Because he's expecting the air dodge, he's not expecting to have to be put in a defensive situation and air dodge my attack, or even throw an attack early to punish me. And similarly, if I'm trying to juggling someone in the air, and I know they're going to air dodge, I'll just wait and do an up air. If I know they're not going to air dodge because they expect me to do that, I'll just immediately up air. If I know they're going to double jump away, I'll jump with them, wait for the double jump, and then repeat the situation, except then when you have a jump option. So this time they jumped, now I can chase where they're jumping and just do aerials and punish them. And especially in this game, if they land on the ground and I know they have to air dodge, do this, they have to air dodge grab or something during the landing leg. Very simple stuff. Well, not simple stuff, but very easy to pick up stuff once you understand why you're doing it. So yeah, that's basics of mix-ups. It's understanding mix-ups themselves is something that is very character specific. Every character has different mix-ups, different options. There's a lot of risk reward. Oh, that's another thing I should talk about. So there's only mix-ups. There's not only mix-ups. There is a concept of risk reward with them. So for example, Falcon is great at mixing up because his risk reward is very spread evenly. If I do a grab, I do a dash attack. If I do an up air, down air, back air, side B, down B, all this stuff he has, I'm pretty much gonna get about the same amount of reward for the same amount of risk. Maybe a little bit higher risk for lower reward with something like side B. Inversely, a higher reward for something lower risk like grab. But the idea is, Falcon is a character that has so many different options that all lead to combos, that can lead to kill setups, etc. But a character like, let's say, Robin, for example, doesn't necessarily have that. A character like Robin might get like some reward of grab, but not much. Like he grabs me, and he gets like a little damage, a little position advantage, but nothing else really. He dash attacks me. He puts me in a position where he can try comboing me, pressuring me. If he forward airs me, he can pressure me. If he does side B, he gets a lot of damage. If he does a neutral B, not so much. If he jabs me, he doesn't really get much out of it. So the idea is Robin, for example, as a character doesn't get much reward of some mix-ups, despite the risk being high, and inversely gets a lot of reward from some mix-ups without high reward. And I think this is where the issue comes in for a lot of players and where it becomes tricky, because when you find someone who knows what your character is capable of doing, who knows that, say, Robin side B leads into a lot of damage and a lot of his setups and potentially kill moves, they're going to be playing around that. And so, even though it may not make sense, even though someone might tell you, hey look, Robin's grab is awful, only does a little bit of damage, doesn't lead to anything, it's just a grab. And yes, that would be true. You probably won't want to use too many grabs because a move might be not worth the risk you take. But you still have to utilize grabs. Otherwise, when you fight someone who knows what they're doing, they'll say, hey look, this guy's not using this grab because it's a bad option. I'm not even going to respect grab. And so this is oftentimes where you can almost say tiers come in with characters. Is what characters have these mix-ups, these different options that are rewarding, that let them confuse their opponents. Now obviously there's other aspects of it, which I cover in different fundamental videos. But the idea is, just because a mix-up isn't as rewarding, and heck, sometimes because it's not rewarding, doesn't mean you don't want to do it. Sometimes I would do a bad option, like sometimes as that, like let's say for example I am Rosalina. Sometimes, for example, I would just go and down tilt someone. It's not the best reward. I can get more reward out of dash attack or a grab or a neutral air. But sometimes I might just want to down tilt someone because even though it's not much reward, even though it might be kind of risky, my opponent's not expecting that because there is no reason for me to do that normally except to mix them up and makes them think next time I might do that move. And therefore they won't respect my other options as much. And so this is character specific, this is something you have to figure out. But the idea is, don't write off options unless something is really, really risky like this. That move can kill, move does a lot of damage, but the chance of landing that against someone good is so low because even if it's a mix-up that is extremely easy to avoid, react to, and punish. If I start doing this, Robin could easily, it wasn't a computer that's standing still, Robin could easily roll behind me, charge forward smash fully and give me like 30 damage. If I'm even at like 70%, I'd be dead. So yeah. That is just generally the idea of mix-ups. Now, there is another concept that goes hand in hand with mix-ups called conditioning. Now this is where it starts to get really interesting. Once you have mix-ups down, once you know what the options are, you understand the risk reward, but understand how to utilize that risk reward to confuse your opponents and make them get hit by options they wouldn't expect. This is when you start conditioning people. Now conditioning is making someone think you're going to do a certain move in a certain situation and then punishing them because you think you're going to do the move. So for example, I talk about mix-ups, but now let's say for example, I do dash attack 3 times in a row on my opponent. My opponent expects, okay, I'm going to grab after the first dash attack. Oh, dash attack again, I won't do that again. And I do another dash attack. So now, what my opponent should be thinking next time is, okay, this Falcon player just dash attacked me 3 times in a row in the same exact scenario. So next time what I'm going to do is I'm going to block the dash attack, and then I'm going to punish him with a forward smash in the direction that he is after the dash attack, or I'm going to forward tilt him or something like that. And so now my opponent has in his mind, hey look, I'm going to do this dash attack the 4th time. This time I grab. And now what does my opponent say? Because now I use my mix-up, but I did that after I basically told my opponent, hey look, I dash attack a lot. So what does he do? Does he expect me to dash attack again? Maybe I just dash attack again. Maybe I'll just keep dash attacking. And he'll start thinking, okay wait, no, he tricked me last time by doing 3 dash attacks in a row and then grabbing. So this time, I'm going to expect to grab and spot dodge. And now I don't even dash attack, I just do this because I know, due to the fact that he's going to try to punish grab, I can do something like back air on him. And I just get my opponent's head that way. Because my opponent doesn't actually know what I'm going to do. And he might understand now that I'm conditioning him, but there's no good way to stop conditioning except to read someone and to kind of just take the guesses on what they're doing. And similarly, maybe I'll stop conditioning. Maybe now I'll be like, okay, I conditioned him enough, this guy's starting to realize what I'm doing. He's probably not even going to let me put him in a situation where I can mix him up like this. And so instead of trying to even condition him anymore, I might just go and start doing random moves again. I might just start doing like side Bs out of nowhere. I might just start doing downers out of nowhere. Jump out of a jab. And in a way, this is conditioning because you told your opponent you had all these options to do while he's standing still when he's playing more defensively. But now you're completely switching up to options that would cover him even if he moved around a lot. Like if I side B'd, this would cover if he rolled, if he tried dash attacking me. If I just jumped around a lot and waited for him to do something, this would cover him pressing buttons. Just doing this. And this is something that is more high level. This is certainly something that they won't really need to know when you're fighting low level players, medium level players, players that are still learning the game, learning the character, learning basics. But when you start fighting people who know what they're doing and understand all these basics, this is what you'll see a lot and this is what you have to utilize. And even at top levels of play, in any competitive game, you'll see this a lot where Smart players will outplay their opponents by making them think to do something else. And those opponents oftentimes will expect the smart players to do something like dash tag 3 times in a row, or grab 3 times in a row, or all this stuff. Or even the ledge. A smart player might not expect the opponent to just go, get up attack, get up, get up, get up, and then do a get up the 4th time, and then out of nowhere just roll and do something. They won't even expect that get up the 2nd time, or the 3rd time. And so, in a way, I like to think of conditioning as the reverse of mix-ups, where instead of constantly different options, you do the same option expecting your opponent to believe you're doing a different option next time. And now the main way to do it, conditioning, I think, is, sure, you can start with conditioning. You can start match out by dash tagging for 3 or 4 times in a row, grabbing 3 or 4 times in a row. But a lot of times you probably want to start a match out by mixing your opponent up and making him respect those different options. So you can just go and dash tag 3 or 4 times in a row because he'll try to cover as many options as possible. And repeatedly try to cover those options until he realizes you're not falling for that. And yeah, similarly to mix-ups, conditioning is something you have to understand your character, you have to understand the risk reward. For example, I don't want to condition my opponent to think I'm going to do side B 3 times in a row, because even if I do side B 3 times in a row as if a mix-up as a conditioning setup, the problem with something like side B is a decent reward, decent damage, but the risk is massive. My opponent punches side B, and they have a good grab, they have a good jab, they have good fast options to start combos to kills. Because this move has a decent amount of startup, as you see here, it has cover a certain amount of range, and it's not that safe. It's an option that even my opponent predicts and punishes once, or even if he just reacts to it, if he's like jabbing, and he just realizes as he's jabbing, oh shoot, Cat Falcon's doing side B, let me shield. That's it, the opponent just got punished on you, and all your hard work with getting those 2 of the side Bs is wasted. But something like dash tag, for example, is great with Falcon because even if my opponent punishes that, it's worth the risk because the reward of getting the dash tag is like a good amount of combo potential, putting my opponent in the air, being able to follow up, do damage, get kills. Same with a grab. Same, or for another example, a move that wouldn't be great is back air. Back air is decent reward. This percent would probably kill, but it doesn't lead to much. It's not much combo potential. It's not much set potential. It just kind of hits the opponent. And so maybe I want to use it as something to condition my opponent a couple times, but it's not something optimal to condition my opponent with. But similarly to mind games, I might want to use that because it's not optimal. Or similar to mix-ups, because it's not optimal, I might want to use that a bit. But that's the general idea of mix-ups and conditioning. Just throw things out that are constantly different in the same situation, make your opponent unsure what you're going to do. Sometimes do things that is stupid, like using the same move over and over so you can punish your opponent for expecting that move again. And really just don't get predictable. If you're fighting someone and they realize you do the same move in the same situation and you don't realize that, you start getting hit for that move. So let's say I'm a player who doesn't realize that when I'm in the air, I'm being juggled, I always air dodge, and my opponent punches that every time, and I don't realize this. You're not mixing it up. You're losing legitimately because you aren't mixing up in that one scenario, and you're taking a lot of damage from there. And once you start realizing that, and you say you jump and then do a back air, just jump away and get back to the ground, you become an infinitely better player, and now your opponent has to understand that you don't just air dodge, and that they actually have to respect your options again. And yeah, this is, like I said, one of the most basic concepts of fighting games. This is something that even if all players kind of get naturally over time. It's some point I figured it's good to discuss right now. And yeah, I hope everyone watching has learned something. Have fun smashing. You can play as other fighting games as well, or competitive games, and just think about what you're doing when you play and you'll be much better. And yeah, thanks for watching.